Hello students, in this video I'll be talking about the different types of isomers just in a brief, but majorly I will be talking about the optical isomers. In class 11th we have studied what are structural isomers. What are isomers basically? Isomers are the compounds with the same molecular formula, right? But different other properties it can have. So isomers are divided into two types. One is a structural isomers. Structural isomers are with the same molecular formula but different structures. They are further divided into four types: chain, position, functional group and metamers, that we have already discussed in another video. Now then, stereoisomers, they are same molecular formula but different arrangement in space. They are of two types. One is geometrical, which we have already done in the heading alkenes in class 11th. One is cis and other is trans. And now we come to another important isomers, which are optical isomers. Optical isomers are those which show optical activity. Now what do you mean by optical activity? Optical is related to light, right? So we are going to deal with some difference in the light that a particular molecule brings to, and we know a light has got oscillations. Now if I talk about, let's say, a bulb, it is giving us light and it is giving us light in all the possible directions like this, right? Horizontal, vertical, diagonal component, it is in all the possible planes that it can have. Now what we do is we make a setup like this. I've already drawn it for the easier simplifications. This is my bulb and this is my light source. So I have seen that it is providing me lights in all the possible planes. There are components in all the possible planes. Now what we do is I put it through a polarizer. Now what is polarizer? Polarizer is usually a Nicol prism. Now what is the purpose of this polarizer and how do we place it? As you can see, I have made a circular with bars, the vertical bars here, right? Now it is, you can assume it is like an entry or it is like a door which has vertical bars, like you must have seen in jails, in movies and etc. So these are bars. Now what is going to happen when the light will, with the oscillations in all the possible direction, try to pass through it? What will happen? Only the component, this component will be able to pass through it. This component would be restricted, this component would be restricted, and all the other planes would be restricted. Only the one which is as the same in the same condition or the same alignment as the bars of the polarizer will be able to pass through it, right? So now what I have done is the light has gone through the polarizer, and since my bars were vertical, only the vertical bars could pass through it, right? And the other horizontal, the diagonals, they all have been cut off. Now what has happened is I have taken a sample tube, and in this tube I have put the aqueous solution of the sample that I want to study. For example, I want to know that I have a compound A and I want to check if it is having optical activity or not. So I have made the aqueous solution of this A and have put it into the sample tube. Now what will happen is when the light will pass through it, because of the optical activity of compound A, let's say the compound A was tilting the component that has passed into the sample tube towards right, a little right. What did I expect from the sample tube? I expected the orientation in which my light was entering the sample tube, it should come out the very same way. But actually what happened is the light that came out of the sample tube was a little tilted. It can be more tilted also. It all depends upon the compound that you have used. So this type of light, which has directions in all the possible planes, is called as an unpolarized light, right? And a light which has directions only in one direction, like after coming out from the polarizer, this is called as PPL. We call it as plane polarized light. It is polarized in only one plane, right? So it is, the light waves are oscillating in only one direction, oscillating in one direction. Now what has happened, when you passed it through the tube, it has got a little tilted. You will find that the component of the light is changing its plane, and in this particular case, the example that I have taken, it has shifted a little towards the right hand side. So the light that you passed through it was this, and what you obtained was this. So if I have put an analyzer, now I want to see कि कैसी लाइट बाहर निकले, तो मैंने यहाँ एक एनालाइजर लगाया. अब अगर मेरा एनालाइजर भी मेरे पोलराइजर की शेप में होता तो मैं कुछ देख ही ना पाती, क्योंकि जो अंदर से सैंपल ट्यूब से लाइट निकली दैट वाज अ लिटिल टिल्टेड. और अगर मैं स्ट्रेट लगा दूं अपने बार्स एनालाइजर के, देन आई वुडंट हैव got a view because I am seeing it from here. The eye source is here. So what I have done is I have tilted the bars of the analyzer also towards the shape. I have done a hit and trial wherein I have changed all the possible directions, and one from which I observed something coming out, I have shifted it, fixed it that side. So my analyzer is in the same direction as the light coming out from the sample tube. Now since I have got this, so only what has happened, the polarizer was like this and the analyzer has been twisted like this. So it has been twisted to a little right hand side, then only you can see it through your eyes. So now only those samples which rotate the light are called as optically active. Which rotate light are called as optically active. तो यहीं से एक बात हमें क्लियर है, that if the light that was coming out from the sample tube was in the same direction as it went inside, तब हम उसको क्या कहते हैं, it is optically inactive. But since it has changed or rotated the direction of light, we call it as an optically active compound. And any compound which shows this optical activity is called as, or this phenomenon is called as optical isomerism. Now I have taken the example where it has shifted the light towards the right hand side, but there would have been a possibility that the light was shifted right or left. I'll take both the cases one by one. If it is shifted to right, or I say it has twisted the light clockwise, then we represent it with a small d and we call it as dextrorotatory light. And if it is towards left, we call it as anti-clockwise and represent it with a small l and we call it as levorotatory. You must have heard these terms before, but you never knew the meaning, right? So now what has happened, now we know which compound we call it as an optically active compound and which compound we call it as an optically inactive compound. Now, what are the conditions? Conditions by which we will say that the compound is optically active or not, because every time you have to identify optical activity, you do not have this entire setup. This is very expensive. So you cannot use the setup every time to determine if it is optically active or not. So what we'll do is, we have few conditions, and if a compound is following those conditions, we say that the compound is optically active. The first condition is asymmetric compound. Asymmetric का क्या मतलब होता है, that it can't be divided into two equal halves. I'll discuss all these with examples very soon. And the second condition is a chiral compound. If a compound is chiral, we say that it is optically active. Now what is this chiral word? Chiral carbon is a carbon which is sp3 hybridized, first thing. It has all four different atoms or substituents attached to it. And if that we have such a carbon, we call it as a chiral carbon, or we also call it as stereocenter. Now let's take an example and we can check if the compound is optically active or not. So any compound which will have asymmetry and a chiral compound will be called as an optically active compound. Let's say I'll take an example of this. So what is the condition? Either it should have symmetry, right? So if I talk about this compound, do you think it has symmetry? If I divide it from here, there is no symmetry, right? Now if I have to check a chiral carbon, does it have a chiral carbon? If I talk about this carbon has 3 hydrogens. So out of 4, 3 substituents are same, so this is not chiral. If I talk about this carbon, it has 1, 2 hydrogens same, so I don't even need to go further. It is also achiral. If I talk about this, 2 hydrogens same, so it is not having a chiral carbon, so it is optically inactive. Why? Because no chiral carbon. Similarly, if I say I have a compound like this, let's put iodine. Now again, let's look for a chiral carbon here. This carbon has 3 hydrogens same. It cannot be chiral. If I talk about this carbon, I have a hydrogen, I have a iodine. So they are 2 different components. It is attached to a CH3 group and a ethyl group on the other side. So are all the 4 substituents different? Yes. This carbon is chiral carbon. It has chiral carbon? Yes. So the compound is optically active. What I want to say here is that even if one of the carbon is optically, or one of the carbon in a compound is chiral carbon, then you can say that the compound is optically active. Similarly, if I say, let's take another functional group now. I have an alcohol here, right? Now let's look for a chiral carbon. Can this carbon be chiral? No. Can this carbon be chiral? No. Now let's talk about this carbon. See, this carbon cannot be, this carbon cannot be, because at least I can see 2 hydrogens that are same. So now I have to look for this. Now this carbon has 1 OH, 2 H, 1 H. So 2 substituents are different. On one side there is an ethyl group, on the other side also there is an ethyl group. So there is a chiral carbon? No. So is it optically active? No, it is optically inactive, right? Now let's look for a few more examples and the concept would be clear. Let's talk about a compound like OH, and let's take hydrogen. Now the very first thing that you need to do here is convert them into a normal form, or at least write down the carbons at each intersection so that it is a little more clear to you. If I talk about this carbon is having a bond here, so this is definitely having a CH3, this is having a CH2, this is having a CH2, and this is having a CH3. So now if I see all the carbons that I have attached hydrogen with, this has 3 same hydrogen, 2 same hydrogen, 2 same, 2 same. So they are never going to be chiral carbons. Now let's talk about this carbon. This carbon has 1 OH, 1 H, 1 propyl group and 1 methyl group. So there is a chiral carbon. This is my chiral carbon, so it is optically active. Now if the compound is like this, now what do you think about this? This is CH3, this is CH2, this is a carbon, this is CH2, this is CH3. Now this is not chiral, this is not chiral, this is not chiral, this is not chiral. The only option left is this chiral, this carbon. This has 1 hydrogen, 1 OH, but 2 ethyl groups. So it doesn't have a chiral carbon, so it is inactive. I hope you all are following what I am trying to explain here. Now let's take another example. Now let's check for the optical activity here. This cannot be chiral. This, let's talk about it a little later. This, alright, let's do it. This is one iodine, 1 hydrogen, 1 methyl, and a different group. So this is chiral definitely. But if I also have to check about this, can I check about this? ये तो हो ही नहीं सकता, because this carbon is sp2 and one of the conditions was that it has to be a sp3 hybridized carbon. So but yes, there is a chiral carbon and hence it is active. Now let's only talk about this compound here. Will this be optically active? Yes, it will be optically active. क्यों? क्योंकि इसके पास एक कायरल तो है, इसके पास अगर 3 हाइड्रोजन है, 2 है और यहाँ भी 3 है, तो ये तो नहीं होने वाले. but this carbon will definitely, because it will be having a ethyl, a methyl, a hydroxyl and a hydrogen group. Now one more topic that I want to talk about here is, if yes, the compounds are optically active, then what? See, I will make a optically active compound. I hope you remember that wedge is the carbon which is out of the plane and the dashes are behind the plane, right? So is this my chiral carbon? Yes, it is chiral. This carbon is chiral because it is having one ethyl, one methyl, one OH and one. This compound only I have drawn it like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mirror image of this compound. So mirror image, this carbon will remain here only. This would be having a CH3 here only, but when you will look this compound into the mirror, this would be C2H5 and this would be hydrogen here. Just try and imagine this in front of a mirror. So how will you see it? And this OH will be like this. Now as I said, this carbon is chiral. Chirality remains here also. There is not going to be any change. So now these two are chiral carbons. Both have chiral carbon, so they both are optically active. Yes. Are they mirror images? Yes. Next condition I need to check is superimposability. Now what is that? If I pick up this compound from here and I try and put it over this compound, will this compound completely overshadow this compound? No. Yes, because if you will put it like this, I'll still have one OH here, which is basically they are not going to coincide over each other. So are they superimposable? No. So when these three conditions are satisfied, we call that pair as enantiomers. So what are enantiomers? Enantiomers are the compounds which are optically active. They are mirror images of each other, but they are non-superimposable. What they are? They are non-superimposable. For example, the very common example, the basic thing that I can tell you is, this is my one hand, this is my other hand. They both are mirror images of each other right now, right? But if I pick it up like this and can I superimpose them? No, I cannot. So my both hands are a perfect example of enantiomers. Now, let's talk about enantiomers. इनकी एक जनरल समरी रेडी करते हैं. enantiomers क्या हैं? They are optical isomers, definitely, है ना, क्योंकि they both are mirror images of each other. अब optical isomers से मेरा मतलब क्या है? क्योंकि ये mirror images थी एक दूसरे की, अगर इनमें से एक कंपाउंड मेरी पोलराइज्ड लाइट को राइट घुमा रहा होगा, दैट मीन्स इट वुड बी डेक्स्ट्रो रोटेटरी, द अदर वुड बी रोटेटिंग इट टुवर्ड्स लेफ्ट, दैट इज लीवियो रोटेटरी, राइट. सो enantiomers क्या हैं? ये दोनों मिरर इमेजेस हैं एक दूसरे की, जो नॉन सुपर इम्पोजिबल हैं, एंड दे वन ऑफ देम वुड बी डेक्स्ट्रो रोटेटरी एंड द अदर इज गोइंग टू बी लीवो रोटेटरी. But the main thing that you need to remember here is that magnitude of rotation will be same. What do you mean by magnitude? Magnitude का मतलब है कि अगर डेक्स्ट्रो वाला +50 डिग्री घुमा रहा था मेरी लाइट को, तो ये वाला -50 डिग्री घुमाएगा लाइट को. दैट मीन्स ये 50 डिग्री इधर जाएगा, वो 50 डिग्री इधर जाएगा. नेट रोटेशन कितनी होगी? 0. नेट रोटेशन इज गोइंग टू बी 0, राइट. So enantiomers are optical isomers. Yes, one is dextrorotatory and other is levorotatory. Yes, जिसको हम in short कह सकते हैं कि ये positive sign है और ये negative sign है. Both will rotate the plane of polarized light, but in opposite directions. विद सेम मैग्नीट्यूड. घूमेगा सेम अमाउंट में, पर एक राइट साइड पे, एक लेफ्ट साइड पे. तो अगर बेसिकली देखा जाए, ये मेरे आइसोमर्स थे तो इनका मॉलिक्यूलर फॉर्मूला सेम है. इनका स्ट्रक्चरल फॉर्मूला सेम है, इनका IUPAC नेम सेम है. IUPAC में क्या फ़र्क आएगा, डेक्स्ट्रो के नाम के आगे में मैं D लगा दूंगी और लेवियो के नाम के आगे मैं बस L लगा दूंगी. दैट वुड सफिस कि हमें क्या कहना चाह रही हूँ. नाउ द वेरी नेक्स्ट थिंग इज इनैंशियोमर्स की जब हम प्रॉपर्टीज़ की बात करते हैं, सब कुछ तो सेम है, स्ट्रक्चर सेम है, रोटेशन सेम है, एवरीथिंग इज सेम फॉर बोथ ऑफ देम. सो दे हैव सेम प्रॉपर्टीज, सेम मेल्टिंग पॉइंट रहेगा, सेम बॉइलिंग पॉइंट रहेगा, सेम डेंसिटी रहेगी, सेम रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स रहेगा, हर प्रॉपर्टी सेम रहेगी. नियरली सेम भी नहीं होगी, इट इज गोइंग टू बी एग्जैक्टली सेम. नाउ सिंस द स्ट्रक्चर इज सेम, ओरिएंटेशन इज ऑलमोस्ट सेम, bonds are same, तो chemical properties are also same because bonds are same, right? तो difference आ किस में रहा है, सिर्फ और सिर्फ उनकी rotation of light में, कि वो किस side पे कितना rotate करेगा. Now for example, I have a mixture of a compound with me. Let's take any chiral carbon. I will take B here, C, D, A. This is chiral carbon, है ना, चारों substituents अलग हैं. Now I will make a mirror image of it. So now what will happen is C इधर आ जाएगा, B इधर रहेगा, A इधर ही, and D will be here. So they both are enantiomers. दोनों ने equal rotation में किया. Now if I take equimolar mixture of both of them in my solution, मैंने 50 ग्राम डेक्स्ट्रो रोटेटरी फॉर्म उठाई थी. इफ इट इज डेक्स्ट्रो रोटेटरी दिस इज लीवो, तो मैंने 50 ग्राम डेक्स्ट्रो उठाई, 50 ग्राम लीवो उठाई. सो व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इज कि मैंने इक्वीमोलर मिक्सचर लिया, और आई कैन से 1 मोल इसका लिया और 1 मोल इसका लिया. इफ आई टेक इक्वीमोलर मिक्सचर ऑफ द इनैंशियोमर्स, तो ऑप्टिकल रोटेशन कितनी हो जाएगी, 0, क्योंकि इसने फॉर एग्जाम्पल +x डिग्री घुमाया होगा, तो इसने -x डिग्री घुमाया होगा. सो इट हैज 0 ऑप्टिकल रोटेशन. सच इज कॉल्ड एज racemic mixture, or it is called as racemic modification. रेसिमिक मिक्सचर और रेसिमिक मॉडिफिकेशन. तो अब इस अगर मुझे रेसिमिक मिक्सचर का कोई एक फॉर्मूला लिखना हो या स्ट्रक्चर लिखना हो, अगर मुझे यही लिखना है, ये मेरा कार्बन है, इसके पास एक A है, इसके पास एक B है, इसके पास एक C है और इसके पास एक D है, तो इसके नाम के आगे मैं सिर्फ DL लगा दूंगी, या मैं इसके नाम के आगे +- लिख दूंगी. ईदर वन ऑफ देम. DL इकट्ठा और +- इकट्ठे लिखने का मतलब है that there are equimolar mixtures of both of them present, and that is why the optical rotation is 0, and this mixture is called as racemic mixture. And the process to convert any one of the enantiomer, मैंने ये enantiomer पकड़ा, मैंने इसको एक racemic mixture में convert कर दिया, then I call it as racemization. What is racemization? The process of conversion of any one of the enantiomers into the racemic mixture is called as racemization. I hope this optical isomers are clear to you.